Good morning, class. Today I will be your guest speaker. My name is Michelle Moore. We will be going over Chapter 21, Cooperative Skills. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am currently right now a CBU graduate student in the kinesiology field, exercise science, and I love it. And I currently right now am teaching physical education to homeschooled children, private schools, and disabled. So I'm teaching adaptive PE and I really enjoy it. So I hope you enjoy the lecture and let's get started. So the role of cooperative activities. Well, cooperative activities, they teach students to work together for their group's common good. The activities in this chapter will give students certain opportunities to learn cooperative skills and then apply them in certain rewarding activities. In physical ed, you will hear various terms such as team building, cooperative learning, cooperative and adventure education. The terms are similar. They're a little different, but most focus on teaching cooperation. This chapter, though, will use the term cooperative activities to describe such activities. There are two primary objectives that guide the teaching of cooperative activities, and they are allowing the students to apply a variety of fundamental motor skills in a unique setting. The second one is cooperative activities also teach children personal and social skills. So basically, just to sum it up, cooperative activities teach social skills such as teamwork, communication, decision making. They help with conflict resolution. They also are using their motor skills in unique situations. So when teaching cooperative activities, you can't just provide your students with the appropriate activities. They need to be adequately introduced and summarized. There needs to be a series of concluding questions, and it requires effective teacher monitoring. The book gives an example of what could happen if you, without a concluding questions, problems can arise, like maybe the usual quiet, less skilled student will stay in the back so that he's not embarrassed, and then the more dominant student will continue to control the activity, and they're not learning anything about group dynamics or cooperation. And don't explain what cooperative skills are. The group will be using before the activity because it can limit its effectiveness. So, and then also telling them what they will learn after cooperative activities that also may diminish its effectiveness. So what you can do is you can use these steps, and this will help the teachers to teach cooperative skills. So first you want to set the stage. So what is the challenge? You need to know, the book uses an example of using a parachute, and they have to have a tennis ball get through the middle of the hole in the parachute. So they also need to know what are the rules. Are they allowed to put their arms up? Are they allowed to put one arm up and one arm down? One arm down. What are the consequences for breaking the rules? So if they let go of the parachute, are they out? And also, are there any safety issues to address? I know when I take my son to the library and they do the parachute game there with the balls, a lot of the children will run underneath the parachute, and that causes them to get injured. So you need to, safety is a very important issue that needs to be addressed to your students. So the next step to teaching cooperative activities would be to facilitate. You just need to step back and let your students work. Some teachers actually find this step really difficult because they want to tell their students how to accomplish the task. And that's really not important in cooperative activities. Success doesn't always mean accomplishing and finishing the task. Learning to cooperate is much more important. So you just need to simply ask questions, monitor for safety. If you see that while you're monitoring the class, if you see that the students are getting emotionally, if they're getting frustrated, or maybe they need to be refocused. So you would just need to stop and refocus the activity because safety is your biggest concern. And then finally, you need to allow time for the final step, which is then debriefing. So the final step to teaching cooperative activities would be debriefing or debrief. This is probably the most important step in implementing cooperative activities. This step of the cooperative activity process, what it does is it allows students to share their experience, and it also gives you, the teacher, the opportunity to meet your own objective. So a way of meeting this objective is by asking open-ended questions. You don't want to ask questions like, did that work, or would you do that again? Those are just yes or no responses, and it really doesn't allow or open up, discussion. So the book gives some examples of open-ended questions, and they would be, some of the examples is like, what does communication mean? What happened that was positive? Okay. So during the debriefing time, it is also important to discuss how the students can use these skills that they learned in the activity outside of the PE class. So again, use open-ended questions. So when would you have to be patient outside of PE would be an example of an open-ended question. Or how would you communicate, how would good communication skills help you at home? These are examples of open-ended questions that you could use to help your student use the skills they learned at home as well. So next we have group challenges. These are designed to place students in an unfamiliar situation that will require them some form of cooperation. The rules are created in such a way that the students cannot complete the task alone. They must cooperate. I will show you a video that will show you where the students have to work with each other, or else the task can't even begin to be completed. So also in the group challenges, these are designed for developmental levels 2 and 3. And then the students, they learn basic cooperative skills in level 1. They sharing, listening, individual and partner decision making. So in this video, you'll see students that being placed. It's like a group challenge, and they're being placed in an unfamiliar situation, but it does require them a form of cooperation. Please enjoy.
So what we have is 2 groups of 3, and each group has 5 pool noodles cut in half. Now the people that are running, if you could hold up your hands. All right, their job is to run on the noodles to get to the other end of the area, but they can never touch the floor. What has to happen is once they're past the noodle, their teammates have to move that noodle in front of them to progress them further on. So we'll see how it works. Ready? And go.
So a great teaching cooperative activity would be an activity called lifeboats. The challenge is you're going to save the entire group by getting everyone to the mainland using only the lifeboats, islands, and the tug rope. And so the lifeboats, you can use scooters. The tug rope is just a long jump rope. Islands can be mats. You can see what the rules are. Anyone that touches the ocean, which would be the gym floor, must return to the starting point. Lifeboats may only be pooled, And once you make it to the mainland, you must stay there unless you step in the water. And only one person on the lifeboat at a time. Another great game that's similar to this is called Titanic. It's a great cooperative game. The equipment that you would need would be hula hoops, and you can use 2 objects or places certainly that are designated as ships. Your concept would be that it's taught would be cooperation, teamwork, problem solving, movement, and balance, just like in the lifeboats. And so that's I will put a link up for you guys to have this game too, and it's called the Titanic, and it's similar to the lifeboats. So the next cooperative activity you can see here is called the balance beam mixer, and this is in your book on page 524. You can get the students into groups of 8 or 10. You're going to need a low balance beam or bench. What you want to do is you have students stand shoulder to shoulder on a low balance beam or bench. For younger students and even for your older students, you should use mats alongside the beam for safety. And there's different ways to get students ready in order. The book suggests ABC order, month of birth date, so January to December or vice versa. But yeah, this is the balance beam mixer. The next activity we have for cooperative activity would be moving the world. The formation, you could use the entire class and you can scatter them throughout the area. You need 1 large ball that will be used as the world, and the challenge, you can challenge the class to move the world to different parts of the gym or locations in the gym, but the ball cannot be kicked, thrown, or struck, and all the class members must be involved. So the next cooperative activity we have is group juggling. You can do a formation of groups of 5 to 6 students. You can use a ball, bean bags, you can use frisbees or whatever. You can see they're using dice in the picture. Each student in every team is going to have a ball or bean bag. And then on your signal, each team member is going to toss his or her ball to another teammate and then catch the ball that's tossed to them. And the goal is to see how many successful tosses can be made in unison. I also have a video for you guys on YouTube, and it shows group juggling.
Soleus. Soleus.
So the next game that we have for cooperative activities would be an activity called the pretzel. You need about groups of 6 to 10 students. You don't need any supplies. The students are going to stand shoulder to shoulder in a circle, and they're going to have their arms extended out in front of them. And then each student is going to grab 2 other hands, 1 in each hand. The hands that they grab, though, they can't be of the same child, and they cannot be of a child that's next to them. The team must then undo the pretzel they have just created and form a circle, but they can't let go of each other's hands. So then once the pretzel unravels, some of the students may be facing toward the center, and some may be facing away from the center. And that is the pretzel. And the rules are their hands have to stay together.